Hi everybody, I'm JP, and it has been quite a while since I have done one of these development updates. Not since last year, I guess, so I thought I would do one and let you all know where I am at. First of all, good news, I'm alive, and I'm reasonably well. One thing that happened was I was staying with my parents over the holidays, and I just tripped and fell, basically, one day outside, and broke my elbow. And I don't know if y'all can see this on the video here, and if so, I apologize if it's gross. But yeah, so to fix the bone, they had to do surgery and put in a screw. So yeah, I've got like a scar there now. But fortunately, that happened on New Year's Day, and I was in a splint for a while. Immediately after the surgery to immobilize it. And then last month, I guess a little less than a month ago now, I got the splint off, and then I could start moving my arm again. And so since then, I've been doing physical therapy to restore the range of motion. So I went from having like one arm and just having to do everything with my left hand, which is not my dominant hand, so having to relearn a lot of that, how to do basic stuff with that was a challenge. And also, let me switch over to the. This is one of the X-rays post surgery. Obviously, I now have a large, I guess, titanium screw in there, and there's a little bit of wire that was holding it in place. This is a relatively recent X-ray, I guess, and it's showing like progress with the bone healing. Apparently, the healing process has been going okay. Yeah, but yeah, I have that in my arm now, and that was just a thing that I had to deal with for a while. That was not too fun. But yeah, and I can now do bending my arm upward towards my body like this is the difficult part, and I've made a lot of progress. It used to be I could barely even like hold it up by my side, and then I got like 90 degrees, and now I don't know what I'm up to. My physical therapist will tell me later today how many degrees of motion I'm up to. But obviously, like usually you can you can bend your arm upward and like easily flatten your knuckles against your shoulder, whereas I'm still working up to that. But so for a few weeks now, I've been able to sit comfortably at a computer and type, and I've been able to drive and do all kinds of other good stuff, like just raise a spoon or a cup to my mouth to feed myself. Anyway, I don't want to like over dramatize like what that process was like going through, but it was a setback, and it was also kind of a good reset. I feel like a lot of bad stuff happened in the world last year and is continuing, honestly, and it wasn't a great time for me as well, both for personal and like external reasons. But I don't know. Yeah, breaking my arm was kind of a good. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good experience, but it was like sort of a okay. I don't know. Yeah, it was sort of a reset. I'll leave it at that. So what have I been working on since I regained that capability of working, and what was I working on before then? So I'm still working on autobiographical architecture, my autobiographical Doom project. That has been really up and down. I think I'm on a better track now. But yeah, that is a note for anybody in the future, anybody who's watching this who is considering doing an autobiographical project. Your progress on the project and your way of thinking about it will be very dependent on your own psychodynamics. And if you start getting depressed, or I don't know, you have complex feelings about things that have happened in your life that you're trying to take into your art, that will be difficult. So hopefully in a few months, or I don't even want to promise a time frame anymore, but hopefully when autobiographical architecture finally comes out, you'll be able to see my successful negotiating of some of these creative challenges. But I don't really want to talk about. I don't really want to spoil anything or whatever. It's part spoilers and partly just, I'd rather let the work speak for itself once it's done. So anyway, but to get back up to that point, I sort of felt like I had to work my way back up. I mean, my ability to just concentrate and be productive and stuff, I had to really build that back up from a shambles. So some of the things that I was doing, initially I was just like, okay, I just want to do something like really small that I can like do in a day. And let's see. Yeah, so a small thing that I did was just, I was like, so there's a few Twitter bots that I have, and some of them have been running this whole time, but a lot of them were self-hosted on a little Raspberry Pi that I've got over there sitting beneath my TV, plugged into the wall, basically. Just because I didn't want to bother with like web hosting and stuff. So yeah, I've been self-hosting these little Twitter bots that are just like little experiments and stuff. I'll provide a link to my Twitter list of the bots that I've done in the description for this video. But at some point last year, the SD card got corrupted on that Raspberry Pi, and then I was like, well, great, how do I redo this? Because it seemed like the SD card was continually being corrupted. Turns out it was partly a power supply thing. If you don't use a power supply that can deliver enough reliable current to a Raspberry Pi, this is a Raspberry Pi 1 Model B, I guess. Then the SD writer will write bad bits to your SD card, and then that will corrupt your file system. So, and I redid the whole thing. I got the whole setup back up and working with the same SD card, because I determined that it was not corrupted. And then it happened again, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a pain. How do I like fix this for good? Well, one solution is this thing that I've got open in this browser tab right here, which is moving the main part, everything but the boot partition of so like the root file system, moving that onto a USB drive, which is written to in completely different ways and is way less likely to be corrupted, and also is easy to back up because you can just power down the Pi, pop out your USB drive, and then do like a backup image of that, and then you can restore that as well with a new USB drive or something if you need to. So that's what I did. And then I got some of my old bots that were working just fine before, like Ending Summary, which posts the final sentences of Wikipedia plot summaries. And then there were also a few bots that I wanted to sort of like revisit, like just upgrade a little bit. Some of them I have not put back online yet, so I'll just leave that for later. But one of them was just was good old ORSbot. Yeah, it posts. It just posts random ORS dialogue from Star Control 2 at different points. I added a little bit of code to it to make it post more intermittently, because it was posting like at fixed points during the day, and that just felt really boring and predictable. So the way that I wanted to upgrade it was run it periodically and let it post more randomly and infrequently, so that when it does post, it feels like it feels like something interesting, or maybe the timing of it feels serendipitous instead of just every day at 1 or whatever it was before. Anyway, so yeah, I got that back up and working. That felt good. And then I made another Twitter bot. I had just like a random idea one day, and it took me all of a day to completely implement and debug it and get it fully posting and stuff. And it is called Welcome To, or Welcome Bot. And all it does is it searches Twitter for people saying welcome to whatever. It just searches for the quoted string welcome to. And then what it does, so one of my goals with this bot was to not be annoying to anybody. So there's a lot of situations where a bot might quote somebody, and like that would show up in their mentions, and I really didn't, so I didn't want to have it be retweet based or mentioning people or anything like that. And in fact, I think like taking that stuff out of context is part of what makes a lot of bots funny. I mean, that's certainly the case with Ending Summary. So yeah, what it does is it just takes like whatever comes immediately after welcome to in that person's post, and then it tries to truncate it, just come up with this truncated thing that doesn't mention anybody, etc. And this is what it's posted so far. It's posted, just a variety of things. And so it's just kind of a nice little scoop of just Twitter's seething meta-consciousness, This is probably my fave so far. Welcome to my What's in My Bag video. As you see here, I have a family-sized bag of mini pretzels and a pencil case. So I just love that this bot found that. And you can, a lot of times you can reverse search this, like, so if you wanted to find the person who was originally posting that particular thing, you could find it, but yeah. Anyway, so that's been running for a while. It's running off my little Pi. That's fixed back up and good. So I'm happy about that. And then I started working on some. I started working on some. I was like, hey, I want to dust off Playski and do a few more things with that. I want to I don't know, I just wanted to convert some photos and stuff like that because it always kind of looks cool. And I made this image that's been rainy around here, and this is just a image from nearby. And I don't know, yeah, Playski is an ASCII art game engine program. So anyway, I started doing these little conversions and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, this was cool. This program that I made was cool, and there's still multiple games I want to make with it someday. And I was like, yeah, there's been some options that I've always been wanting to add to this, and so that turned into I ended up doing a lot more work on that. It ended up taking me 2 or 3 days, and then I finished up the release and got it out yesterday. However, I am going to do a whole other video that is just specifically dedicated to this new Playski 0.9.0 update. So look for that. That'll be on this same YouTube channel and probably go up within an hour or so of this one. So yeah, I'll cover that. I'll cover all of the stuff that I did for Playski in that. But yeah, between kind of getting back on my feet with bot stuff and then doing this Playski release, and now I am going to resume working on AutoBio. That's going to be interesting. I have a lot of sort of creative stuff to think about. I was building and implementing for a while, and then I started thinking, gosh, what am I putting in the story, and how am I stringing those bits together, these moments from my life together into a story? How do I want to go about that? And all the stuff I had built up to that point, I think, was good and usable, but I wanted to take a step back and think about the story that I'm telling, basically, because that's a weird thing with AutoBio, is there's probably a bazillion stories that you could tell, and a lot of them are maybe boring, or they only really are deeply meaningful to you. And so yeah, I wanted to take a step back and figure out a story that I could tell that that would be worth the effort, So anyway, that's where I've been at. I hope to resume doing these videos a lot more regularly. I'm trying to, just get back into some good work habits and enjoy having 2 functional arms and a brain that works pretty well again. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, it's good to be able to be doing this kind of work again. And Patreon patrons, thank you very much for sticking with me. I apologize that I broke from my usual monthly update schedule. But yeah, I just want to get back to doing regular stuff because that feels good. But yes, thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for watching this, and thank you for all of the support and encouragement. The last few months have been tough, but I have very good people in my life who have really made this period way less of a disaster than it could have been, and I'm incredibly grateful for that every single day. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. And yeah, now I'm going to record a video covering what's new in the Playski release. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.